that blah is numerically is 6, right? So 666, right? Is that the case? But you know what blah 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 means? This is interesting. Because everything today, you're going to find out, we're going to be talking about the devil. We're going to be talking about the devil. We're going to be talking about like witchcraft and all the stuff that's, it's like right there in our face. We're going to get there. You know what blah, 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 you know what synonyms for this word is? Is that the word I'm looking for? Cinnamon? Synonyms? It's
SinAmenSon. SinAmenSon. Court. Uh-oh, the police are here for me. And it happens to be police car number 514. May 14th, 514.
We're going to get there. You know what blah, 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 you know what synonyms for this word is? Is that the word I'm looking for? Cinnamon? Synonyms? It's not the toast treat, but you know the word that sounds like it's the same meaning, different word. For blah, you know what it is? Abracadabra. Isn't that interesting? Abracadabra. Another one is hocus pocus. What are the odds that...
I mean, you can't even make this stuff up.
So apparently, what had happened was the story was that somebody got raped. The girl had some guy in there. That's what I was told, that story.
What are the odds that blah is also hocus pocus? It's weird. You know,
Hocus.
I've said that by accident too.
Hocus pocus.
Blah, 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 when people seem to be babbling on.
Interesting. Cincinnati.
Up on SinAmenSon Street. SinAmenSon.
2014, they gave a 5 years they funded it for 5 years. So 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I've said that by accident too. When blah, 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 when people seem to be babbling on. Babylon. That's what blah means too.
So what you're saying is...
I found it interesting. You know what else I found interesting? You know? Talk about somebody who talks out of,
You're saying that...
Uranus is a planet. Fauci. You know that guy who looks like he's, looks like an evil villain. We're not saying he is. We don't know.
So if this address is 656, and this address is 658, then wouldn't this lot in this area be...
I wonder if it was worthwhile. But what I find interesting, and you probably didn't know, I didn't know this, but guess what they were getting paid every year? Take a wild guess. Come on. That's right. $666,000.
I don't even... Not that anything has anything to do with anything, but all I'm seeing is 716... 658. So somewhere in between here would be that address. It is funny how my boss told me that they can build one house on that entire property, the 93 acres. They're allowed to build one house.
Was
33.
funded to this virus of the crown research. Okay, that's good. Check, please.
Well, if everything's free, and you own nothing, you can't take anything with you when you die. So, I don't know.
Energy's the thing. Now here's interesting, right? There's a dominion. It's a big word. You know, there's a lot of things connected to the dominion this and the dominion that. Well, Dominion Energy, it's like the largest manufacturer in the Southeast. Big because of the 2030. Everybody's got this 2030. Everything's about the 2030.
Naturally, I'll look up 2030. Down, start at the bottom. Austin finds Solomon's bolt. D6 convicts. Blair Witch Project. Is that where that was made? All nations shall flow unto it. Emmanuel destroys Sauron's eye.
Dominion Energy, it's like the largest manufacturer in the Southeast. Big because of the 2030. Everybody's got this 2030. Everything's about the 2030. To power like 660,000 homes. Yeah, it's interesting. Get how many states were bragging about how many people, you know, were protecting themselves, as they say.
EA.
666 here. 666 here. 666 there. And
No
666 everywhere. It's the number of the beast. It's the number of man. If you're new to the channel, that's okay. You could catch up.
And on his farm, he had, what does he have in that farm again?
Go watch everything. All right, start from the beginning.
Coming up soon. From the time I started YouTube.
Yeah, remember we talked about Sauron, Lord of the Rings, and then Elon Musk tweets about Lord of the Rings.
Sauron.
One ring to rule them all. And spiritually, this is all going somewhere. But I know you're wondering, what does this all have to do with her on the cover? Your post, Grimes. If you don't know who Grimes is, I did a video about Grimes. You know who Elon Musk is, right? Tony Stark of our generation. Guy that you want to love, but he's got his fingers in so many pockets, and he's such a great troll on the internet that he would make a great supervillain. We hope after everything's laid out and revealed to you in this show, whoo, you're gonna be pretty floored. You're gonna be pretty floored. Messed up generations, right? You gotta do videos and you gotta call out, the head of Tesla. I'm not calling you out, Elon, if you're watching. Just so you know. But you gotta call him out and you gotta tell him that the Lord God of Israel, I'm getting all worked up.
You're the Lord God of Israel too?
Getting all the time. Taking off Noah's awesome hoodie. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just some strange coincidence. Just like the avatar he was using for Twitter 24 hours ago. That's why we need to discuss it. So Grimes is this major power player, his partner. She also maybe into the occult. I'm gonna at the end of this video, I'm thinking if I don't do it, I'll link it at the end, or just.
I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been. what's behind that. I know nothing. I have no privacy. Life has never been so.
Marx was considered by most to be a Satanist. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. His father actually was worried that his son was possessed by a demon. I think he wrote him a letter to this.
Yeah, it's in my
and
glove
when people
compartment.
wrote him letters, like his son, he called the son titled, called him Mr. Devil. Karl Marx, he did not like the Christians because I think his family was Jewish or something, and then they were forced to convert of communism. Do you know? Talking about the cinnamon toast.
So I'm coming up on SinAmenSon Street. SinAmenSon. Sin. Amen. Son.
CT, like Christian teas.
Of a word? Do you know demon? It's the same thing. Demon. It's the same thing. Spectre, demon. So here you have Grimes reading a book about, which is a manifesto, it's a public declaration. Nobody's gonna have any property anymore. Written by a guy who was most likely into the devil stuff, which doesn't work out good for them in the end. Because when you go to that carnal, egotistical side, you end up suffering, because right now they're on top of the world. They think everything's good. But I'm telling you, if they mean things for evil, God is going to use it for our good.
Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto, Canadian Music, Crimes, image of herself with 1/848 document last week, just after her reported split from the world's richest man, Elon Musk. She isn't the only one reading it now.
If you're going to tell people you can't own private property, then you gotta get in line and do the same thing yourself. Do you remember Elon Musk started selling his... He sold all of his houses. He doesn't have anything anymore, doesn't have any property, but he's really just trying to focus on getting everybody into space. Who, realizes that he's been a slave to a system that he wasn't aware of. He wakes up and he realizes, I can do whatever I want to do now. No longer is he a slave to the system. Now he's ruling and reigning with the creator of the system, which they end up having a little bit of a little romance for a moment or two. How soon am I? And it hit me. Soon am I. It's a parable about a man who's trapped, who's being abused and being robbed and being beaten and being shot and being hit and being persecuted and being tormented. And he wakes up. He wakes up.
October through the end of December. There is a major shift happening in 2022, and we know that.
That we know you, and we know that you know us. Not just from this little one-dimensional video that you look at your cell phone, but you actually hear our voice one-on-one, and you hear us address you specifically, and we hear you specifically. One. You're going to have the cosmological issues. This path is ancient of days because it is the only authentic path out of this die hold. It's truly, that's what it is, that you separate yourself, just like, Jim Carrey coming to terms in the movie. He sits up and he gives his little wave off and send off to the director and exits the door. That's the separation from the world, to just open that door, salute the enemy, because that's his world. He's the director and he's the one making all of these, all of this happen. And you walk out and you shut the door behind yourself and you don't return. With everything going on in when you go out in the town, but when you're paying attention a little bit to what's taking place in the world, I mean, we have most likely, which will be yet just another false flag that gets us into some major conflict that they want to happen. But the gaslighting and the craziness, I mean, we are literally part of the Truman Show here.
Yep. Charlie just said that yesterday. Because he came up. Hey, Robin, I got this paint sample. I took it to, I got a piece, like a sample right here. Yeah. So I'm sneaking up on you, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Cameras are rolling all the time on me. Like, yeah, it's like the Truman Show. See, here's the thing. I talk about my work, people involved there, things that I've, because Kleck is, I've already went through this. And they can, whether they watch my videos or not, I think they do, but even so, if they do, and if anybody has a problem with what I'm saying, that they would speak directly to what I'm saying, like, why are you saying this, or why are you doing, but that's not how it works, because the way it works is Satan, the spirit inside of people, they act like they don't know what you're talking about, but yet they're like laughing. Let's give it the hardest task. And then I just look at things as a workout. No big deal. Because in the end, tables turn completely. The tables completely turn. And it's a good thing I'm very forgiving.
A part of the shadow banning that we recognize, because I'm sitting right here looking at all my data streams.
And you're strong.
Yeah, I see things that you guys can't, but yeah, there's nothing that's really crazy in it. So, but we've got a major situation going on in the Asian Sea with Russia and China and Iran, and trust me, they're all involved. And Iran, and trust me, they're...
Whether or not we are going to end up in a confrontation with China or not, I'm not sure. I don't think so. From what I've been told,
how many of you have heard about that trend exploding all over the internet about
status quo? And don't forget, the Israelis were telling me 2 years ago, quit speaking evil about China. They are going to be the new world superpower.
Favorite leaders, or not so favorite leaders, Joseph Stalin. Blood is in their blood, so to speak. Death is in their veins to get power. Joseph Stalin said, the Red Army, he called it red. Red Army and Navy and the whole Soviet people must fight for every inch of Soviet soil. Fight to the last drop of blood for our towns and villages, onward to victory.
They're sending Chinese
Here's
troops
another
in
quote
here
by Joseph
to, quote,
Stalin.
Help
Great
us.
Britain.
Type of demonic entity may be getting control of these AI cyborg soldiers. They don't call it demonic entities, talking about energy, because they're powering up in the middle of the night, and they have developed a language on their own.
We'll put you on speakerphone, or like Derek said, if it's just for Derek or just for me or for both of us, we always like to be together. And let me tell you why that is. I always feel like a male and female perspective are good. I think Derek feels the same way. Sometimes if you're a guy and you've just been seeing in the guy perspective, it's nice to have a a feminine perspective. Conclusion of this, and then I'll let Derek get a little lighter. I say I let him. He does everything. He makes all the decisions, really. So I'm just kidding. He lets me sit over here and kick in every now and again. Okay, this is the very last one, and I think this is the strongest. This is the wrap-up slide of the Doug Addison word from a couple of days ago. He lets me sit over here and kick in every now and again. Okay, this is the very last one, and I think this is the strongest. This is the wrap-up slide of the Doug Addison word from a couple of days ago. If you're reading a prophetic word from Doug T. Addison, and this is the conclusion. The Lord is restoring the watchman. A new power and urgency to pray is coming to people, and there will be a new paradigm or wineskin of prophetic intercession.
The Spirit speak. And he said, please conduct a seance for me and bring up for me the one that I shall name to you.
Robin.
Jeez. So he's not seeking the Lord. He is just seeking to know his future.
Just like we have to do today on YouTube. We have to make comparisons and use different types of words. We have to change the way we say things to avoid being caught. They're trying to trick you into the things. Think about this. So this is the same thing that we've always been talking about, that we are living the days of Christ right now, and this is the time when you will do greater things than he did.
St. Augustine, Florida was founded by the Spanish in 1565 after they massacred a French colony on the St. Johns River. Present-day California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas would also belong to Spain. See, that's a huge swath of land. So, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas would also belong to Spain. See, that's a huge swath of land. So the Catholic Empire is getting extremely powerful. This is a time that Francis, so we'll skip him.
So he's not seeking the Lord.
Go
he is just
down
seeking
to,
to know
let's see over here.
his future.
So much wealth and riches. All right, so I've skipped a couple sentences. So much wealth and riches were being removed from the New World, from the Americas, to Spain, that the English sea dog Captain Francis Drake and his ship, the Golden Hind, snared more than 10 tons of gold from captured Spanish ships in just 2 years, from 1577 to 1579.
I take days, convert them into days. Take away those riches.
How they do it. The map gives a reasonably correct depiction of the west coast of South America. But according to history, Vasco Núñez de Balboa did not reach the Pacific by land until 1513. Balboa.
Different scriptures altogether in the law that forbade, absolutely forbade, reading of the stars, horoscopes, contacting the dead, searching with a spiritist or a medium for the future. And at one point, presumably when Saul was first the king and for those first few months when his heart was right with God, that he made this decision. All of these mediums are to be cast out of Israel. So he made that policy. It's setting you up for what happens. Then the Philistines gathered together and came and encamped at Shunem. This is way up north. So Saul gathered all Israel together and they encamped at Gilboa. That is a mountain, Mount Gilboa.
Which is not too far-fetched, because every culture and civilization has survived and continued through just word of mouth from their previous generations. That's inevitable in history. All right, let's go down to here. In 1513, Ponce de Leon explores Florida. Vasco Nunez de Balboa travels through Panama in 1513. Vasco Nunez de Balboa, 1517, Francisco Fernandez de Cordoba explores the Mayan ruins of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Skip down, in 1519, Ferdinand Magellan, skip down in Mexico. Skip down in... He dies fighting the natives in 1521 in what was later to be called the Philippines. In 1524, Italian navigator Giovanni da
Everything's about the
Verrazzano
clean energy now, right? We talked about the couple of cars.
for France enters what we now call New York Harbor in
166 horsepower engine. Well, you know, Porsche now came out with something. This is his new Beast update. It's called the Beast Update.
Butcher a lot of names. Here we go. All right, page 185, the Inca Empire. Pachacuti's brother, Capac Yupanqui, led the Inca army in 1450 to besiege the city-state of Cajamarca in the Inca Empire. Pachacuti's brother of Cajamarca.
KJJK. JK.
Kuti sent out another army under his own son, the person he had designated as his successor, Thupa Inca Yupanqui. All right, so now it's a same last name Yupanqui, but it's not Capac this time. It's Thupa Inca. So Thupa Inca, his son, became the guy that's been helping out his dad. It's a same last name Yupanqui, but it's not Capac this time. It's Thupa Inca. So Thupa Inca, his son, became the guy that's been helping out his dad in conquering territories. The Incas were now taken very seriously because they're growing in power slowly. Started to build its muscle and civilization of the Inca Empire. So what did Pachacuti did that became so powerful? He stated that all Inca emperors were descended from the sun. He then went about conquering everything he saw. Kind of like Egypt, right? I'm the son of the sun god, etc. That demonic mindset, where do they carry all these ideas from, right? They covered a lot of terrain. They attempted to unite a large group of different people with different languages and religion into one entity, speaking only Runa Sumi, the Inca language. They practiced, so you can see a great type of the Antichrist right here. One Spanish chronicler named Gamboa. Man, this guy was treated like he was something else. His servants collected, and listen to this. This is so ridiculous. His servants collected and stored every item he touched, body waste included, to make sure that no lesser human being touched them and profaned their sacredness. The ground was not good enough to receive the Inca emperor's saliva. A special servant who wiped it on a special cloth and stored it for safekeeping. Some of you guys better start doing that when I preach and I spit at you when I preach. Some of you got to get those special cloths and store it, man. Maybe this guy, right? Maybe this guy that we wipe the whiteboard with. All right, the tears of our
They
past.
sure treat you like...
All right, let's keep reading here.